From the Pep Radio newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. A pizzeria that was host to a regular trans pizza party was lost to the fires that consumed the Altadena neighborhood of Los Angeles last week, the owners announced on Instagram over the weekend. A photo accompanying the post from the restaurant Pizza of Venice shows the only remnants of the once thriving pizza joint, two picnic tables that hosted customers out front, and the tottering remains of the restaurant's pizza oven chimney. At least 24 people have died in the fires in Los Angeles, which destroyed over 12,000 structures in Pacific Palisades, Malibu, Altadena, and other areas along the coast and interior hills and valleys. More than 60 square miles have burned as winds continue to rage across Southern California. Altadena was particularly hard hit as vast swaths of homes and businesses were reduced to ash in the fast moving inferno. Only the occasional chimney and smoke-choked tree remain standing. In time, both will fall. Pizza of Venice occupied a nondescript strip mall next to a liquor store on a commercial street called Fair Oaks Avenue. The restaurant filled to capacity and often spilled into the parking lot with the bi-weekly trans pizza party gathering. We are so honored to host Trans Pizza Party at Pizza of Venice, wrote the owners, Sean St. John and Jamie Woolander recently. This month event constantly clears us out of limeades and fills our restaurants with so much pride and joy. We are proud to be a safe space where folks can feel comfortable to express themselves and build community. Thanks for all the love. The sight of their restaurant in ruins left them speechless, the owners wrote on Saturday. As many of you know, Pizza of Venice was one of the many homes and businesses that burned in Altadena. What seemed unimaginable just a few days ago has now occurred, leaving our community devastated and displaced. Walking up to the restaurant last night and seeing what remained left us utterly speechless. The devastation is overwhelming, and our hearts go out to everyone affected by this disaster. We are deeply grateful to report that the entire Pizza of Venice team is safe and healthy, but tragically, multiple team members have lost their homes. And now this news from the U.S. Supreme Court. The court agreed on Friday to hear a bid by religious parents to keep their children out of classes in a Maryland public school district when LGBT storybooks are read, the latest case to come to the justices involving the intersection between religion and LGBT rights. The justices took up an appeal by parents with children in Montgomery County Public Schools just outside of Washington, after lower courts denied a request by the plaintiffs for a preliminary injunction ordering the district to allow the children to opt out when these books are read. The lower courts rejected the argument by the plaintiffs that the school district was likely violating the U.S. Constitution's First Amendment protections for free exercise of religion. The plaintiffs objected to exposing their elementary school-aged children to instruction they said conflicts with their Roman Catholic, Ukrainian Orthodox, and Muslim religious beliefs. The Supreme Court, which has a 6-3 conservative majority, has steadily expanded the rights of religious people in recent years, including in cases involving LGBT people. In 2023, for the instance, court ruled that certain businesses have a right under the First Amendment's free speech protections to refused to provide services for same-sex weddings. The Maryland School District in 2022 approved a handful of storybooks that feature lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender characters alongside the many books already in the curriculum that feature heterosexual characters in traditional gender roles. The books are part of the language arts curriculum, not sex education, the district said, and include no instruction on sexual orientation or gender identity. The storybooks are no more sex education than stories like Cinderella and Snow White, which feature romance between men and women, the district said in court papers. As the number of requests to excuse students from these classes has multiplied, the district in 2023 announced a policy barring opt-outs from instruction using the storybooks. Opt-outs are still allowed for sex education units of health classes. And finally, this news about the 28th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Progressive activists in Congress have put mounting pressure on President Joe Biden to direct the archivist of the United States to certify and publish the Equal Rights Amendment, which would become the first explicit mention of women in the U.S. Constitution. When Biden announced on Friday that he believed the sweeping amendment, which would add language to the U.S. Constitution explicitly prohibiting sex discrimination, should be considered ratified, U.S. Representative Summer Lee, a progressive Pennsylvania Democrat, said it was long overdue. Still, advocates wish Biden acted sooner or took more definitive action by issuing an executive order, which could have opened the door for legal battles. He told reporters Friday that he held off on voicing his executive opinion until he had all the facts. It's pretty disappointing that Joe Biden decided to make an executive opinion today instead of an executive order, which he very easily could have done, said Molly Gonzalez, advocacy manager at the Alice Paul Center for Gender Justice. Members of Pennsylvania's U.S. congressional delegation, who would help determine the future of the ERA, have mixed opinions on whether the amendment can still be ratified. I believe it is the duty of the archivist of the United States to publish the ERA as the 28th Amendment now that President Biden has reaffirmed that it has been properly ratified, according to U.S. Representative Dwight Evans. For further information about this or any of the other stories that we cover, please check out the PEP Radio page on the Pennsylvania Equality Project website, paequality.com. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. And that's the news at this hour. Now back to more music on PEP Radio.